How's everybody doing? That didn't feel like good. I'm gonna try something. This is on the fly, so Jason's gonna make fun of me later. But this is the first team meeting in the month of May. It's gonna be great. Oh my God. That totally bombed. Anyhow, welcome. So good to see all of you today. Let's start like we always do. Let's dig deep just for a minute and share some things that we're grateful for. Today, I'm gonna start. I'm grateful to be in business with my lovely wife. One other thing, I'm grateful for Raven Haynes.
Yeah.
Raven. She spends so much time getting months and months ahead on our calendar to bring you amazing guests like we have today and Mr. Michael Bunch. We'll get to that in just a minute. She also spends a huge part of her Monday and Tuesday just getting everything ready for you guys. So Raven, grateful for you. Who else wants to share something they're grateful for today?
I'll share.
Yes.
I am grateful for all the mothers, because this is a Mother's Week. And I'm grateful that I'm gonna see my mom, this weekend.
Anybody else? Quiet room today. Anybody else want to share? Okay. So why don't I do this? Let's just share some April results real quick. You guys had some tremendous success in the month of April. So we had, as a market center, 118 closed units. Just amazing. Congrats on that. You guys took 101 listings, which is just phenomenal. Hopefully you're using all the Chartmasters data to have great listing conversations, right? Yeah, that number is up from last year. And here's the big one. You guys wrote 138 contracts. So way to go. I'm going to throw out some names here for folks that capped in April. And then JC has some thoughts on cappers here in just a second. But Sarah Bird, Joanne and Tom Curtin, Shelly Fay, Gail Long, Stephen Jamie Minetti, Mateli Patel, Sherry Sotner, and Tiano, all in the.
Yeah, if you haven't capped, we are putting a program in place to help you do that. I think that should be the goal of everybody here at the Market Center. The minimum, we're trying to move towards that cap. We want that for all of you. So we will have something coming very soon to help you get there.
Yeah.
Hopefully help you get there faster.
Yes.
Help you with your productivity.
Yes.
That's right. That's right. So with that, our amazing broker, Melvin Franklin, is here to share a broker minute with you today. So let's all give Melba a warm welcome.
And before we get started, I just want to remind everybody that on the 19th, she's going to have a brokerage engagement and listing and buyer agreements class from 10 to 1. Please come get updated on what's going on with your contracts and help yourself to be the best professional for your clients, right?
That class is strictly broker engagement agreements. So it's going over the listing agreement, going over the buyer broker engagement agreement in detail. So I haven't taught that class in a while, and we've had some changes in this year. So that's a 3-hour C class. So thank you for bringing that up. I'm Melba Franklin. I am the Director of Broker Services for Georgia Legacy Group, and I go to every market center every Tuesday to bring a topic. And unfortunately, due to my schedule, not yours, I was not able to come at the last of April, which would have been the last Tuesday. So I'm sort of making it up today. I am going to leave right after I speak, not because of Michael or anything, but because I have another engagement. So I do want to apologize up front. But what I have been talking about, and this is odd. Now listen, is everyone listening?
Yes.
This is weird. I don't know. And not only say it's weird, it's stupid. But the lead-based paint issue, and I'm getting a lot of calls about it. So I don't know what happened in 2024 with the Department of Justice or with the federal government or with anything doing with EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, related to lead-based paint. But there are 2 forms. They're new. This came in 2025, and one of them is 317 and one is 318. And it's buyer's broker notice to seller's obligation regarding lead-based paint. Seriously? Seriously? Well, yeah, it doesn't even compute. So the point is, are you ready? Because I've had a lot of you call me and say, Melba, I'm the buyer's agent, and the house was built prior to 1978. And the agent, we attached to the contract, the lead-based paint exhibit, check. But now the other agent is asking me for this stupid notice. Now, I don't like the word either, stupid. I know young people are taught not to say that, but this is stupid. Okay, so you as an agent as a buyer's agent, if EPA, you've got to send this over. And what does it say? Is it an exhibit? No. What is it? Notice. Well, the seller one makes sense, even though the seller signed the lead-based paint exhibit. I got it. So you could get the 71318 with the seller signing it at the time you get the listing. That's the CYA, right? It's easy. The buyer one doesn't jive in my book. So here's what it looks like. It is buyer's broker notice to seller, buyer's broker notice to seller. Now, this is after, I know, I got it. It's after a contract, after a purchase and sale agreement. The house, if it was built after that, you don't need to worry. But if it was and you had the exhibit, you still got to send over that form. Seth Weisman said, it's stupid. I don't get it, but that's the world. Everybody understand? And I'm helping you because as a buyer's agent, you might be requested from the seller agent, or you might receive it as a listing agent, receive it, go, what is this? And when you do get it, just like the contracts say, everything you receive is also received by who? Your client. So if in the event that you do receive this as a listing agent from the buyer's agent, you must give it to the seller. Everybody got it? Upload it, because when you upload it, it covers our butt in the future when something happens. Again, not quite sure I understand the reasoning behind this, but these are two new forms I want to make you about. Then the other thing I want to talk to you about is the lead-based paint disclosure. That's the seller broker engagement. Next slide. Lead-based paint. On the lead-based paint disclosure, here it is. Everybody remember that one? You got to have it attached. It's an exhibit. Exhibits are not standalone. It has to be attached to contract. Everybody good? Mm-hmm. Two, at the top, there are some initials, and it looks like this. It says, agent's acknowledgement. Agent who informs seller of seller's obligation should initial. Seller's agent has informed the seller's obligation, buyer's agent. When you attach this to as an exhibit to a purchase and sale agreement, and you're the buyer's agent, you need to initial it. Everybody got it? Everybody understand that? What we're seeing is that you're attaching the exhibit because you're such a great agent to initial.
Okay.
That page 2. Everybody understand? So those are some things that we're just seeing a lot of, and I'm only here to take care of you and to make sure it makes it easier for you to turn in a contract. And so it looks like this if you want to move the next slide. Here it is. Next slide. There's the lead-based paint disclosure, F316. Next page. There's the top right there on page 2. Everybody got it? We good? Check. Next. Good. My job is to take care of you, and that's what I'm doing. I don't know what's happening to the EPA. I hadn't figured it out yet, but who knows? Whatever it is, it is. The next slide is, we're talking about, we sent out office policy, and we sent to all of you via email. I think everybody got it. A policy that we wanted to make sure it really wasn't a policy change. It was just putting it in our policy regarding off-market properties. And basically what it said is off-market listings, such as pocket listings, are strongly discouraged. All listings should be entered in the market listing service and publicly marketed unless there's a compelling circumstance. Now, this is the part. In the cases where there is a compelling circumstance, you got to get approval in advance. Approval is at the sole discretion of who? You. Thank you very much. I've already received some calls and they're not doing it because they realized that it didn't work in their favor. And so that's our policy and that's the way it is. So I hope you understand that. We're trying to take care of you. We're trying to make sure we do the best thing for our sellers because that's our number one goal, is to give the best service for all of our sellers. And we need to make sure the sellers are fully aware that they get, who's number one source of buyers?
Other agents.
You're the only person that knows. I'm scared. Let's do that again. The number one source of buyers for all your listings is If you don't know that and tell it to the seller, isn't that important? An agent in Stockbridge or maybe in wherever, Timbuktu, Jefferson, might have a buyer that would pay anything to live right around the corner from Roswell. They would pay anything, but they don't know about that listing unless you expose it. Because you don't know what agent has a buyer that really wants that property, am I right?
Right.
So the seller gets more money when we market it to everybody, because our number one source of buyers is not the sign, what sellers think it's the internet. Wrong. It's really, my job, Mr. Seller, is to do a great job of marketing your home. And we want other agents to show it. Don't we like showings?
Mhm.
Doesn't showings equal an offer?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll be honest with you, I know we're sort or out of multiple offers, but even over the weekend, I got several. We are getting multiple offers again in certain areas. So we need to be very, very careful. So we felt like this was important to come out and make sure you knew about it because of some other issues. But if you feel like there's a specific circumstance, just call me. It's no big deal. Okay, we good? I think that's it. Is there anything else? Georgia Lake discourages. Our goal is to get the most money, which is what I do. Number one source of buyers is other agents. We signed up every year ago to put them all in the multiple listing service anyway, and we have 48 hours as per our policy manual to put them in there. Any other questions of me today? Are we all good? Yeah, it's no big deal, right? I look forward to seeing you. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is a cliffhanger. July 1st. Forms are changing.
Oh, we did.
Like how?
Well, I got them yesterday and I reviewed them a little bit. I don't think there's any major changes, but I only tell you that is it, remember, I just got through telling you that I go to every team meeting. Well, starting next Tuesday at Windward, I will be telling you about the changes and then I will be here. So I go to every team meeting. You got to June the 1st and then after June the 1st, we have 30 days, remember? Before you did, so it'd be July the 1st before it's done. But the changes were not good, not a lot, but they were a lot of changes, but they weren't big. Can I say it that way? So I will review those with you and talk about it. We good. And at the class I do in May, I'll talk about the new changes with the buyer broker and the seller broker, but they're, again, were minor. They're just cleaning up a lot of stuff they do. Yeah, hi. Oh, it was.
Just figured out the first one.
No, that's right.
Okay, I enjoyed it.
Thank you, Melba. Thank you.
Guys, we're gonna go through these events real quick so that we can get to our featured special guest over here, Michael. We have a land class, a land contracts and easement class today with Jan Alicardi and Kurt Schwartz. Thank you guys for putting that together.
That'll be awesome. You guys stay for it.
Yep, so it's gonna be right after the meeting. If you wanna learn how to do your land contracts correctly, come to that class.
And they are not the same as regular contracts, guys. So, and Kern teaches it amazingly, so.
Awesome.
We have Red Day tomorrow. For those who are volunteering, we're gonna meet here first. Oh, wait, sorry, Thursday. Thursday. We're going to meet here first in the morning and then we're going to go over to Homestretch to work on some of their properties there for new families to move in.
Can I just say something about Red Day real quick? Red Day is like literally baked into who we are, like our culture. So like, I understand if you can't make it for the whole day, but like, just come serve with us. We had Homestretch here last week. For those of you that you didn't see, Homestretch is a nonprofit that helps people transition from homelessness back into like civilization. They do amazing work and we're going there to serve them, to help with like pressure washing, painting. I don't know what else, like whatever they need.
Their
Cleaning,
playgrounds,
having
it's
fun.
beautifying their
Yes.
yards. things
Yeah,
like that.
they do. Yes, and it will be fun. So
Can I-
if you haven't signed up yet, sign up because we want to make sure there's food for you. Myra, did you have something?
And about the sign up, Melody sent an email. We have 13 teams of tasks that we're gonna be completing. And they are very specific. I know that you're gonna get the pressure washer. You
Oh, I
said-
am?
you
Okay,
said-
that's amazing. It's like therapy. Yeah.
Yes, so, but it's in an email, so it's an Sign Up Genius. Please go in there and pick a team. Because it's gonna be 66 of us. And we don't wanna just go there and not know what we're gonna be doing,
Yeah.
because it's not.
66 so far, is that right?
66.
I think we can get to 75, so if you haven't signed up. Sign
I
up.
think that Melody just closed already because of the food.
Oh, got it.
So.
Okay. Well, you can
so
still
yeah.
join us. There can still be
Exactly.
75.
Exactly, and you don't have to be all day. Just go there for a couple of hours, and if you have a meeting with your clients or whatever, just come in and out. But thank you so much for being part of it.
Thank you, Myra. Sorry, Megan.
No, you're good. We have an FMLS class coming up on FMLS compliance with our listing. Guys, we have to get at least 20 in this class. You can come out here, so make sure you sign up for that, at the
You
registration.
said Melody, I said love.
Mel, can you mute yours? All right, guys, we have lunch from Rupert Ford. We're gonna have lunch after the meeting. Rupert Ford, thank you for coming out today.
Thank you, Billy.
Billy.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And just so that you know, a little bit about their program, not only do they do roofing, but they really do Rupert Ford with donating some roofing services to those in need.
Try to get some, we wrote a check last week for 530,000 to Camp Sunshine in Georgia.
Now the man of the hour, we're gonna have Mr. Michael Bunch come up. Can we give him a round of applause?
Get my stuff out of your way. That's all right. Thank you.
Absolutely. What a treat.
And for those of you guys, yes, they do. Those of you guys who do not know who Michael Bunch is, not only is he a top producer in his market center and a life coach, he's a certified One Thing trainer, KWU instructor, and Next Gen certified. You can find out a little bit more about him here, but we're just so excited to have you.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Raven. Gosh, y'all have loved all over me before I even got here. So what a joy. I am a real estate agent. Got licensed in 1995 where there were thermal paper faxes, hey, can I? Pagers and MLS books. May of last year, I was enjoying the fruits of my best year ever in 2023. Qualified for Gary's Top Agent Mastermind and was looking forward to those events for 2024. And then ended up in the emergency room on June 28th and 2 emergency room visits, 5 heart procedures later, we are at May 2025. What does that mean? That just means life can take you by surprise. And if you're living on cruise control, you could get disoriented when that life collision happens. So prior to that, 2020, I started a journey in getting certified to teach and train on the One Thing book. The book Gary Keller and Jay Papasan co-wrote that I went to the book launch in 2013 and thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and then read it and forgot about it, or went to classes on it. But I was such a hot mess of intuition and raw talent that I couldn't slow down long enough to get disciplined, to do a 411 or a GPS. And the people that I had hired to be my coaches that approached me with these forms and tried to corral me into obedient and using them, never won my heart over. They got some submission for a while, and then I would rebel and just go back to winging it and all of that. So the material that you have in front of you is essentially my recovery program. I had to sneak up on me because I was such a real estate soldier, drinking all of the Keller Williams stuff and trying to be this synthetic Terminator real estate agent thing that could be successful. So anyway, does everybody have a handout?
We need one more.
Okay,
Raise your hand if you need another one. I'll make a few more copies.
so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-ish, maybe 10. You won't need it until she gets back. But it is a series of questions that I call a guided personal scavenger hunt. So the goal is to make you coming to this team meeting today worth your while. And it may really only take one big aha that causes you to want to do something differently in your life or your business. It's not going to be a zillion things that would be counter to the one thing. So I want to encourage you to slow down and just think and be and pull out an old-fashioned ink pen and journal on a piece of paper. So if you've got a handout, I'm going to encourage you to write on it, because the things that you write down, nobody on this planet but you can write these things down for you. You're going to have to find your own formula for living on purpose. And it's work that only you can do. Only I can do the work for me. It's a combination of how God wired you. It's a combination of how life prepared you and what you are currently doing and where you want to go with all of that. So if you're a social media person, the first curiosity question should be an easy one. If you're going to post about this event on social media, where would you post it? So I'm curious, who is going to post? This is not a reflection on me. I don't care whether you post it or not. But if you post things like going to classes because you want to stay in front of your sphere, because you are trying to be engaged with your sphere of influence at a high level so that real estate business comes from that, you might post about this event. If you're a private person, you're probably in the wrong profession. Although introverts like me can do this business, it's just harder than maybe if you're an extrovert. But anyway, that's the question. If you're going to post about it, what would you say about it and where would you post it? That is your audience, and that is some of your output if you're going to do that. Okay, you may take selfies at the end. It may look like all kinds of different things, but all I want you to consider is you have an audience and you are in a sales business. If you are an agent, that audience is receiving things from you. Interesting exercise that I did. I went into ChatGPT and I said, ChatGPT, analyze the social media Instagram account owned by @CoachBunch and tell me what that person values. What do they post about? Go. And it immediately told me what it thought of me. And for the most part, it is in line with my core values because I'm very intentional about what I post going outbound. And it's not a brand other than who I really am. But that could be the case for somebody that's in sales. I have 2 Instagram accounts, and one of them is MB Sales Atlanta, and the other one is @CoachBunch, and I don't post the same things on there. So all of this is just consider the audience, consider how true you are to who you are, and if you want some help getting objective looks at that, you can ask ChatGPT to do it, and it will crawl through that. So just thinking through the concept of you are leaving a legacy and you are putting things out there if you're active at all. So something to think about. So that when I talk about just discuss the ChatGPT exercise, that's what that is. And I use ChatGPT now for a lot of tell me what you think of this and then comparing it to what I actually think about it. Yes, sir.
Can you repeat that prompt? The prompt that you said?
Yeah, it's something on the order of analyze the Instagram account of the account holder blank. Tell me what they post about and what they value. Something like that. I tried to make it sound like I didn't know them, even though it was my handle, to see if I could get the most objectivity possible. Interestingly enough, Gary, when I was with him in the mastermind, he used 4 different ChatGPT engines to rewrite bold and argued with them incessantly. I mean, he would go back and forth at all four of them, which I can certainly picture him doing. That fits who I understand Gary Keller to be. But it's more of brainstorming, not taking what ChatGPT says and just swallowing it hook, line, and sinker. So great question, great question. And if you have the paid version, I think it will go deeper than if you have the free version. So I have chosen to pay for do the paid version of ChatGPT, but I think it will crawl deeper and give you more robust answers than the free version. But that's a
The
great question.
middle level or the pro?
$250 a year, whatever that one, that's what it feels like, but I can't remember exactly. All right, now, flipping the script, where do you get your input? My mother always said, it matters who you hang around with, and your input matters, and it colors all of who you are and how you do life to some extent. So just thinking through the inputs, that's the second question. Are you getting it from social media? Are you reading blogs or going into Substack or getting newsletters or buying physical newspapers and magazines? Just think through who you are following and what is affecting how you see what's going on in our country and in our world. And who do you follow? Real estate? Are you on real estate humor sites because you're trying to decompress from all the stress of what this market currently is? Because their tone can be affecting your attitude. So my only counsel to all of us is be careful who you follow, because your input has maybe more impact on you than you might think. All right, wrestling with who we are and what it is that we really want. Here's a light question. When I talk about sneaking up on myself, direct approach to me is, Michael, what is your big why? I've been with this company 22 years. I can't count the times somebody has used big why with me, and I desperately want to know what my big why is. And I am a little salty and bitter over the people who know what their big why is. I am closer to knowing what my big why is, but I am such a soldier, and for all the shutdownness that is, highly competitive, not disciplined, I have to sneak up on me with like softer questions that what's your big why? So that's where this next one came from. Name a movie that you have seen more than once and would watch again?
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Yes. Can you think of an answer?
Two of them, Boomerang and something about Mary.
Okay.
And the Fockers, I mean.
All right. Now, everybody in this room is not going to have that very same answer. So my plea for you is to write those 3 movies down or whatever. Whatever movie you thought of, please, please, please take an ink pen and write that short list of movies down there. Here's what I know. Movies we hate, movies that make us cringe, we do not watch multiple times. There's something about them that I believe violates a core value of who you are. And that's why it makes you mad. That's why it makes you cringe. That's why you will not watch the whole thing and leave the theater or turn it off and start going to some other movie. So the question is, something about Mary, Boomerang, and Meet the Fockers.
Oh, that's so good.
What do you, is there a common thread between those 3?
I want to be known when I die for love, laughter, loyalty, and leadership.
Okay, so
So I love laughter. I love making people laugh. I love laughing with others. I love having fun. I think you guys know that. I'm very enthusiastic, so.
please go to page 3. Because you just rattled off a bunch of L's. And this is alphabetical. Page 3 is core values. Love, laughter, all of those are clues about who you are and how I believe you should be doing real estate if you're going to love it and thrive. And we'll get to that part. But So that movie, and my question about the common thread, just, it was like 6 of them. And I would not want you to forget them because they came so naturally and automatically that they are like deep, I think, inside who you are. And the people that know you in this room may be able to go, oh yeah, that's you. That's you. Anybody else, movies?
I have Love Actually, Gladiator, and Remember the Titans.
Okay. 2 of those I could connect. Do you, so any common thread?
Actually is kind of the outlier, right?
No,
Oh, I think you can do it.
I would have connected Titans and Gladiator.
Yeah.
So what do you think it is about Love Actually? Is it the Cinderella story?
The relationships and how they come together and the pursuit, you know, and.
Okay, so I go to 3 and circle relationships. Oh, page 3, just if your word's not on there, write it at the top. You can add words. This is just a list of 140 that might possibly be something that you value and core values to you. Love Actually, Remember the Titans, and Gladiator. Gladiator happens to be one of mine.
Did the triumph?
About relationships.
So Gladiator for me is all Maximus wants to do. This is the soldier part. Is do his job really well and then go back to his family. He just wants to go back to his son and his wife and his farm. I don't want the throne. I don't want to be the head of this thing that is Rome. I just want to do my job, and now that I think it's done, I just want to go back home to my family. That's what I get. He was capable, but he didn't want it. Versus Maximus, who was conniving and did want it. So it's something in there about quiet leadership and whatever that is. Yes, sir.
I just want to offer my 2.
Okay.
What you really say about this.
Come on. This is the best part. The best part is not what I brought.
Look, I know, right? So, Shawshank Redemption
Ooh.
and John Wick.
All right. So who in Shawshank, is there a character that you most
The
identify
main
with?
character, yeah.
Andy Dufresne.
Yes.
You either get busy living or you get busy dying.
Yeah.
What is it about Andy, you think?
Tenacity, how he took everything that was happening to him. And this is stuff that was done to him.
Let's assume he was falsely convicted.
The first falsely accused, correct. But I'm saying he took everything these are things that were happening to him.
Mhm.
Intentionally done to him.
Yep.
But yet still, he waited, took everything that they put on him until the time was right, carefully carving out a plan.
Gotcha.
a plan to get to the promised land, so to speak, to get out. And he did.
Yeah,
The strategy of
And-
you like?
Yes.
brought a little justice at the end. Cooked the warden. Or let the warden reap what we had sown, but there's a justice element
Yes.
in him working for someone who is crooked. Only to have them get exposed for their crookedness. Yeah, that's a good one. What was the other one? Shawshank?
John Wick.
John Wick. Total.
The commercial guy would say action.
That. I've been so Mo Andersonized that I was afraid to say the back end of that, but, because I didn't know where I was about to make a contribution to KW Cares. So that's all right. So John Wick, yeah, total.
So John Wick for me, the difference is John Wick, it was, I think so many of us are on the cusp of doing the right thing. We do want to do the right thing and we want to protect.
Right.
And that's what he's kind of was in there.
Okay.
Doing his thing, he's sort of right, depending on which lens you look.
You're sort of right.
Yeah, he is, but well, most of us are sort of right, with way we do things, the way we try to interact, and if there's a chance between a gray area or the right thing to do, we typically lean through the right way of doing things.
Melba hopes so.
But the wrong, but no, I mean, if we're honest, but the wrong side does show up
Right.
and we choose right.
There are opportunities to
Exactly.
go either way. And one of the reasons why the Bourne trilogy would be one for me is
Forgot about that.
he is not purposefully inflicting violence. Violence becomes necessary as he a lot of times tries to escape danger. His country is turning on him. And so anyway, it's not about me, it's about y'all. Yes, sir.
I have two pairs of
Okay,
Caddyshack and Christmas Vacation. And then Top Gun and A Few Good Men.
Okay.
all right. All right.
The honor of it.
So Bill Murray's the common thread for the first one,
Yep,
Yeah.
with Carl Spegler and him being the lead in Christmas Vacation.
I'm guessing Jack is the common thread and the other.
No, Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, okay. What? So there's something there. It's either the lighthearted, playful,
Right.
I don't know, thinking through that. How would you describe the connection between Caddyshack and what was the other one?
Christmas Vacation.
Christmas Vacation.
They're funny. They kind of keep you rolling on the edge of your seat because of the variety of scenes and the silliness that ends up coming out.
Okay,
Whereas Top Gun and A Few Good Men is much more intense and makes you pull for the good guy.
okay. So somewhere, I don't know whether it's honor and humor. Those are a couple of options, but those would be words on page 3 that deeply resonate with you because of those. So that the movie question is an exercise to have bubble to the surface things that either inspire you. There's a reason why you watch the movie. That's my point. Figuring out why. Go ahead.
Alright, so I've seen all these and they resonate with me. But then another one popped up and it was another comedy Friday. So what, is there an initial reason why some of these movies are popping up in us immediately? Although I've seen several of these twice. That are The Honor and.
So, because this is not an exact science, what I wanted to help you with is progress over perfection and placeholders. The placeholder would be comedy or humor. Then it would be, there are different types of humor. And this type of humor resonates with me. And so if I'm going to do things with my database that are going to involve humor, what I know is it's not that kind of humor, it's this kind of humor. And I believe people who respond to your same kind of humor are going to be easier relationships because you're going to have a deeper level of connectivity. So when you are humorous in your newsletter and you are humorous in your way, they're going to get it and they're going to love it. When you're humorous on social media and sharing things, and I mean, they're just Nate Bargatze, clean humor. Resonates with stadiums full of people. I didn't even know who he was until a year ago. He's deadpan. So anyway, there is my style of humor that may not be your style of humor, but I would start with humor because there's something life-giving about that. And then I would get into why is that the humor I'm attracted to? Because I think one of the reasons why the Flyer had the little polished rocks. I grew up in the era where there was a rock polisher that you could buy that ground for like 6 weeks in your basement, and you added different aggregates to it, and the rough rocky stones in there became polished gems that were beautiful. That's what I believe making good choices can be like. It can lead to beauty, the more authentic that we can be. But all of those stones were not alike, which means I believe the more authentically every single one of you becomes, there is a piece of the real estate world you can thrive in with the uniqueness that you are. And not everybody else can go there and compete with value like you can because of the uniqueness that you have. And they're gonna have some Top Gunness in them. And they're gonna have some Caddyshack in there because the lovable Chevy Chase that wants to go and have the beautiful, it works, rather than the painfully frustrating, it doesn't work, it doesn't, there's something in there that is going to help you resonate with your clients. Probably why you already resonate with your clients, and it may already be showing up in your reviews. So maybe one exercise that I have to do is go back and reread my Google reviews to remember who the heck I am and what people like about me. Because you can get so beat up with, oh my gosh, we've been on the market for 30 days and, we're not getting any showings and, what do I do? And it's like, well, I'd let you talk me into the price that was not right, or we should have stayed, all of the stuff that beats us. So I think that's a great question. So you take the easy, it's at least in the comedy category, and then you ask one more question about why is this the kind of comedy that I like? And you look for the common threads. Because then they will turn into, I believe, an arc that is a life mission. Great question. Anybody else want to share? Okay, I'll come with Rachel. Go ahead.
Kind of like Christo is probably my all-time favorite.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, you got some buddies in here on that. What do you think it is?
Probably coming back to show that never giving up.
Okay.
Never giving up and showing other people how tall he can really stand on his own.
So I think that's a theme that probably is showing up a lot of places in your life. One of the questions in here is who inspires you? I think people who demonstrate that are probably people who you are inspired by. So that's great. And so please write that movie down.
I did.
And then begin to just tease out, maybe rewatch it and see what it is that you,
Yeah, I've seen it.
if there's other things about it. Rachel?
So what I noticed about my movies, and one comedy and the other were super serious, is that I'm way too serious. But the characters, I kind of looked at the characters that I liked most. And I did notice a common thread in their purpose of the movie and their purpose for the characters.
Okay.
So that was kind of my aha about this exercise.
Cool. Another one of mine is The Holiday. I don't know if y'all know The Holiday. I'm not Jude Law. I'm not Jasper for that. Well, okay, Jude Law is the romantic lead. Jasper would be the villain. I am the Jack Black, which is the fluffy, good-hearted, good-natured, take advantage of kind of character. And I don't know what that says about me other than I know I'm not Jude Law in a lot of ways. And so anyway, the Holiday is a fun movie, but it also, if you haven't seen it, the villain is this charmingly powerful, play the field guy who won't really land on where he stands. He's trying to have it all, and that just drives me crazy. So anyway, that's The Holiday. And why we resonate. That's the whole point. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that. One that makes me cringe is Glengarry Glen Ross. Any groans? Glengarry Glen Ross is this old movie with old white men who are in this sales pit, and it's all about grinding leads. And it's like, you don't have enough leads. There's a phone book right there with plenty of leads. Your problem is you're just not you're not converting the leads because these are good leads in this Yellow Pages. These are good leads. And coffee is for closers, and get away from that coffee. You haven't closed anything in a year, all of that. It's all of the icky sales culture. And yet there are people that I have in my database who are in sales that I have sold houses to who love Glengarry, Glen Ross, because it is cutthroat and make it happen and all of that. So it just shows how we are all different. So anyway. Any more movies?
Like, what's that movie like, Human Centipede? That was disgusting.
What?
Maybe it used to be like Thor and stuff like that. Yeah, like Exorcist, oh man, those were kind of cringe movies to me.
Okay.
So that means maybe it doesn't resonate with your spirit. It doesn't give you good.
It's dark
back
and evil.
in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. If you were going to have a theater event, you would run the one that you want to run. Something about Mary. It could be anything. You're not going to run the horror and gore. A, because you don't enjoy it. My contention is if you run the movie that you love, everybody in your database who is wired that way and loves that is going to raise their hand and they're going to want to come. And then suddenly you've got a lot of clarity about who's in your database. Just by being more you and being more visible with what you love and how you're wired. And maybe you post on social media about, does anybody just like not like horror movies? Maybe you go to the positive and ask who loves What About Mary or whatever it is. Now, why is that? It could be that there's enough drama in the real estate world already without you having to worry about somebody with a chainsaw and some actor that scriptedly goes near that instead of running away from it. Yeah, it's unnecessary drama. That's why it would not hit with me. But that's a great point. The cringe ones, there's a reason why it's registering that deeply emotionally. And all I'm saying is there are clues there about how you should be doing real estate. One of my favorite classes. What is it? Eat, drink, and party your way to 500,000. Donna's class. I'm like, that just sounds like cheating. How can it be that easy? That's the class I want to take because it feels like I'm making this business way too hard. So I think the rest of your life should be eat, drink, and be merry your way to 500K a year because that sounds awesome. Fun. So to me, clearly fun is one of your page 3 words. Do I know? Well, I think I do. But I love that class. All right. So we talked a little bit about someone who inspires you. Think about, and they do not have to be alive, but they could be alive. If you take a moment and think about somebody who inspires you, the line underneath that question, this is number 10. If they are alive, I'm going to encourage you, especially if they are a mother, to tell them as soon as you walk out of here, and you have a couple of options. I've never told you this. I don't tell you this often enough, but you inspire me. I can assure you, nobody in their life is telling them that or not telling them that often enough. So my goal is I'm going to go see my mom, who is 86 in Mississippi this weekend, because one of my goals on my GPS has been working primary relationships and keeping short accounts with people. And so in order for me to keep short accounts, I need to be around her as much as I can. And we're 400 miles away. And she's 86. I don't know how much time I've got left. And my dad passed away a couple of years ago. And she's working through that still. I'm going to tell her that she inspires me and she's not going to be comfortable with that. And yet, she has watched me on social media talk about this one thing stuff and walking and habits and this, that, and the other. So at 86, so that we have proof of life, she emails a little morning report to us. And she goes, okay, I got in 0.9 miles this morning and I'm going to clean my kitchen. And my goal is to have it cleaned 3 times a week. And I'm doing the gardening and she's reporting in like I'm her accountability partner. It turns out that somehow I have accidentally inspired her as I was putting stuff out on social media, and now she's inspiring me with her desire at 86 to report in. She did 0.86 yesterday and she's doing 0.9. She's trying to get to a mile. And, you know, in first grade, her knee was pinched between two cars. And I got to see her, you know, go through that and then go to the hospital. And so she's not on two good legs and she's still kind of working through it. I mean, it's like, Mom, that inspires me. So anyway, a gift you could give to somebody else if they come to mind when you think of who inspires me. You don't know how much time you have left, nor they have left. So you have an opportunity to let them know that they inspire you. Okay. Superpower. Has anybody ever heard that word? Do you know what your superpower is?
Connecting.
Connecting people.
People.
Okay. Anybody else?
I can tell when the house is moldy because I'm allergic to penicillin.
Okay. That is definitely one I do not have. But because of a client of mine, I now know there is something called a mold dog. And there are dogs who are specifically trained to smell mold. And they'll go through and they'll point like it's narcotics. If there is mold there. So, all right, anybody else? Yes, sir.
I've never met a stranger. People come in and all the time. I really like to talk.
Wow. What must that be about?
It means you talk too much, probably.
No. I love it. I love it. It's just not, I don't know what it is with me that, I don't think I meet strangers all the time, but, I don't think of myself in that way. So I love that superpower. What I want to do is figure out how do you leverage that to the hilt as somebody that's in real estate so that you have all the business that you want. So I think that's great. So never meeting a stranger, I would write down. Literally, I have never met a stranger. I have never met a stranger, and that plays itself out in lots of good ways that help my clients. I would use it as a vantage point to look at your database, your farm, your marketing, and become more fully that in everything that you do, rather than trying to copy some KW thing that I might do or somebody else in this room might do. That's great. That's a great superpower. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Culture adaptability.
Tell me more.
So I like the Latin culture, so I go deep down into what they do, what they say, what not to do, stuff like that. And,
Okay.
on one of my listings, it was like no buyer or no representative,
Mhm.
and she was Venezuelan.
Okay.
And although my Spanish is still on the working, like I told her, I was like, oh, en mi corazón yo soy colombiano, in my heart, I am Colombian. And then we click and everything, and then now like she's like telling me, oh, I need your help and everything. So, and I always try to learn a few words from each country, like Russian, I know Privyet, like stuff like that, and then it just clicks, and now we're off to the race. So.
I love it. I love it. I think that is your playful, genuine curiosity and desire for belonging. Because people are going to feel that. And the rest of the people in this room, unless they really want that, will not be able to fake it. And so there's a unique value that you have, especially to that unrepresented buyer, that is going to, I think, foster loyalty. It may be that all of her friends, you know, there's a gateway there because of a superpower that you have that I think is fantastic. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Connection with people.
Connecting with people. Okay, so not a total surprise if you are in real estate. In any particular way?
I guess being able to read people without necessarily knowing what they're going through.
Okay.
So just being able to relate on a personal level without really knowing
So because this will relate to 33 touches and events and things realtors do. When you are connecting with people, would you say it's more in group settings or more one-on-one? Both. Okay, great. Anyone you prefer more than the other? So one-on-one. Okay. So thinking through that, I would create my annual calendar on how I interact with my database. And it could be one-on-one coffees, it could be one-on-one lunches. It could be, how do I do as many one-on-ones as possible? Because that is that's the best, most efficient, easiest, most natural way for me to connect. And how do I etch-a-sketch everything on my GPS and just say, connect with people. Connect with people is my superpower. I'm going to go all in, total Vegas, chips in the middle of the table on connecting with people, trusting that connecting with people is going to spit real estate business out the other side of those relationships. If I play that hand, and it really is my superpower, nobody is going to be able to take those people away from me because I'm going to be in a relationship with them. So what I'm really using a bunch of questions to help all of us identify some way that we are unique and valuable to people. And those people will be doing real estate, or they will have friends that are doing real estate. And so we only get into trouble. I think I got burnt out. I can't remember. Oh, you were talking about the meltdown, or Fiona was talking about the meltdown or whatever. I think what I proved was you could get into Gary Keller's mastermind doing something that you do not love. I could bludgeon my way, work harder. I could just grind it to a production level that could get me in that room, only to be sitting there in that room going, how many of you people love this, don't you? Oh, my word. I love having these conversations because when the light bulbs go on and y'all talk about your superpowers and the things that you love and the things that you're good at, I want to help you thrive. I want to be a little bit of a spark that continue to keep your flame going so that you can go do real estate if you love real estate. But I don't love architecture and I don't love real estate. And I ended up in that room going, I'm in the wrong room after all of this. That's hell of a note. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to have a conversation that hopefully helps you be more confident that who you are is enough, that who you are is really, really cool to a certain segment of the population. If you are aiming who you are at somebody who likes horror movies and you do not, they are not going to appreciate who you are and probably not the way you do it. And they will put up with you as long as it takes for them to get what they want. And then they will discard you. And that's just human nature.
And we're here for forever clients, so why waste time on a transaction that's not gonna?
Well, a lot of us do a lot of that though. And if it's like me, it's because of scarcity. I'm afraid that if I'm truly who I am, there's not going to be anybody left, or there's not going to be enough people left who want to transact real estate. But when I find the ones that are, it's like magic. So think about the people who wrote those great reviews, and not only write down what they said about you, but write down who they are and why you click so well with them, because they are telling you what they appreciate about you and their common threads. And so the page 3 core values exercise, it's probably a 30 to 40 minute exercise for you to go through. And the way that a lot of people do it is you go down that list and you strike through the ones that do not connect with you. Greg McKeown in his book, Essentialism, has a quote in there that's something like, if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. That may not be exactly, but I mean, if it's not a strong yes, it's a no. So if you look at those words on page 3, if it's not a strong yes, if you are able to cross a line through it and not go, "Ooh," then it's not it. And the goal is to get down from 140 words down to 3. 3 that best describe you, and there will be like little families of words that all kind of go together, but they won't all mean the same. If you pick a word, it may not mean the same to you and me, but you need the word that's big enough to include all the other words that it goes with. Authenticity, vulnerability, honesty, all of those can kind of be in the same family. But impact, there's one. Impact is Jay Papazan's word. It's not my word because everybody in my family is totaled a car, and the word impact has a different connotation for me. Contribution is one that works for me. I ended up with inspire because inspire only goes positive. It doesn't go negative for me. So my mission is to inspire others towards faith and authentic action through empowering coaching conversations. That's long and I'm trying to get it shorter, but that's the whole reason that I'm here and honored that I get the chance to be with you guys today. So anyway, just thinking through those words, but the core values exercise is strike through as many as you can and then circle the ones that kind of mean something to you and try to get from that 140 words and the ones you make up. Well, the ones you add, not made up words, although you could make up a word. Try to get to 3 and then just date those to see if those ring true to you. Here's the cool thing. You pick 3 words. It will not be long if they're wrong to where you're going. That's not it. But just by picking it, it can reveal that it is it or not it. But if you try to get it perfect, you'll probably never get there. So pick 3 words and let them interview for the job as your 3 core values. So that's what that core values exercise is. All right. We got a bunch of how do you decompress? What views do you love? I started walking in 2020 as a 66-day challenge because I had to live the life of a trainer and because I was a little trainer candidate. The way that I failed out is by not living the model. So I had to do a 66-day challenge. So my 66-day challenge was to walk 45 minutes every morning at 6 o'clock. Probably a little aggressive on the goal, but I did it. Well, it turned out that as I was out there walking this 45 minutes, it happened to be around sunrise, and I started taking a bunch of pictures around my neighborhood, and I realized how beautiful my neighborhood is. Yeah, well, I was either sleeping through it or I was driving to Timbuktu, serving everybody and selling houses, but never was in my own neighborhood. Now I have a coffee table book of all of those photos that I took walking around the golf course at Chastain Park that I use for listing presentations as a piece of everything else that I have on the table to market the lifestyle of what it feels like to actually live in Chastain Park. You never know how being true to you can actually become of value in your business. So something to think about. So views that I love, sunrise over Chastain Park with the mist on the water and the mowers cleaning the greens off and all that kind of stuff. Because now I market those photos on Nextdoor, a very hostile, mean place. And guess what? You post a beautiful photo on Nextdoor, you are not normal. And everybody goes, oh my gosh, that's something beautiful and nice and not angry and mean and, you know. Yeah. Well, it wasn't that way in 2020. I got like 300 likes on my photos and now I think everybody's tuned out. It's only about 75. But I'm known as, you're Michael Bunch. You're the guy who does the photos on Nextdoor. And it's like, yeah, also walk, also realtor. Realtors in my bio on Nextdoor. So anyway, I'm saying use your passions and maybe stop doing formulaic things that you have been taught in other classes and start selling out to who you are so that the destination you're on and you love the journey while you're on it, not ending up grinding to end up performing to get in a room that you really don't enjoy being in. I mean, I enjoy Gary, and we talked about high cholesterol and all kinds of stuff. Which, as it turns out, even with $1 billion, you can still have things that money can't fix, which is high cholesterol. So, all of these questions are reflective questions for you to think about. There are tools at the back that are a part of the One Thing book. We're standing on buried treasure, and who knew? Page 4 is personal mission. When I talk about an arc of who you are, it could be, my mission in life is to connect with people and sell them houses if they are ready to move, because I'm good at it. That could be a mission. It could be, I want to connect people, and at times that involves real estate. But your mission is going to be bigger than what you do. Like in the roofing, we do roofing, and we also are cause related, because just doing roofing is kind of not enough to stir our soul. My guess is that there is a you bigger than the real estate version of you. That's what this is. And again, just write down something in those blanks, because the mere fact of writing something in those blanks is going to cause you the clarity to say, that's not it. And when you say that's not it, you don't just get to say that's not it. My encouragement is you will go, that's not quite it, but here's what I would change, and you just change one word. Like I started out with impact, and I wanted to be making a difference. And it's like, that doesn't get it. What is it? Inspire. Okay, that's helping people actually take action, not just get smarter and come to a class and fill out a handout, throw it in the trash, throw it on their desk, do whatever. You don't remember anything else? Just think of a movie that you've seen twice and then just ponder why. Because there's something about that as core to who you are. So anyway, that's first 3 pages all the way to personal mission, page 4. Page 5, 7 circles. 7 circles is a diagram in the One Thing book. It's just 7 areas of your life that you may want to focus on at some point. My version of this, next is the next slide. My version of this diagram has blue pen all out in the margins and little notes. For my business, I want to do more coaching. For my business, I want to have better systems with my assistant. For my finances, I want to grow my profit share. I want to get in Gary Keller's mastermind again and be shocked that I'm there, because it was so easy. What does that look like? That looks like a little exercise called, what do I want? Used to be, what do I want? I want to make 500,000 in GCI. So here's a quick version of that exercise, and it applies to everything. So what did I want? 500. And then the question is that what you really want? This is Michael talking to Michael, which is a little weird. Michael, is that really what you want? It's like, no. Well, sort of. I want to, I said I want to get into Gary Keller's mastermind and have it feel like cheating and me going, I don't even know how I got here, but I did. And
Oh, sorry.
there we go. And we'll choose brown, because brown is a color nobody likes. I want to do Chastain, 500K in Chastain Park. 10 deals, 2 million, 60 times, that'd be 600 grand. So 10 deals in Chastain Park. In Chastain Park, what does that look like? I want to do 10 deals at 2 million in Chastain Park. Is that what you really want? Actually, I want a life, so I'd really rather do it with a partner. And that's going to take about 18 deals. And so, yes, no, 18 at 2 million with partner. Is that really what I want? I don't love real estate, and hard to deal with sellers, and sometimes they get more strong-willed as the price range goes up. What if I can make it profit sharing? Ooh, all right, 500K, let's just sketch all of that. I want to do a profit, 500K profit share. Is he gonna take 500? No, with all of the real estate overhead and all that crap, gone, splits, and you name it. Maybe it only takes 250. Okay, then that one goes away, and it's like 20 a month passive. That's a freedom number that's pretty well known. And how do we get from all of this all the way? Because really what I want to do is have the ability to do this and coach and not have to show property right before I got here in Smyrna and then go to downtown Alpharetta and show the other properties that I'm gonna do this afternoon because I'm still in full-time production. So living here in my mind and in my heart, while the realities of life are, Kanani, when we're doing the walkthrough, so we can get this deal closed, that's what present feels like with this in the background. And I used a GPS for this. And this is the top of my GPS and it looks just that messy and it doesn't have to be fully filled out. And so for this, until this profit sharing or all of this happens, this year it was 500 GCI in real estate, 50 coaching and training. And what was the other? That's 1, 2, 3. That was like 550 is at the top. Better systems. Now you see my GPS for this year. Turns out it didn't have to be perfect. All I needed was a placeholder that didn't make me mad. And usually the 411 and the GPS makes me mad. Sorry, I'm a toddler. I needed it to be this, and I needed it to actually work. Rather than it be a Jay Papasan looking thing of beauty that had 5 strategies that sounded good underneath 3 things that I didn't even care about. So my assurance to you is when I heard the GPS with some grace and with some purpose, I actually realized it could be helpful for my life. And the same thing goes with the 411 form. If you don't like those forms, it's because stuff's on there that you don't care about. Stuff's on there that is trying to get you to do stuff that is not you. And you're gonna have to figure out how to transition from all of that is actually making a life happen, which we all still have to do until we can replace it with the stuff that is more us and that is working. So anyway, that's the sermon, and I think I had till 12:15. So how we doing? We're doing it. Okay, so
the plane, go for it.
GCI was a real estate term, but 550 ended up getting me down to really, if it was profit share, it would only take 250. But at least I thought through what Michael Bunch wanted. And I really didn't want to do all of that. I thought that was what was necessary to get me to the other side of not having to worry about money all the doggone time. Because I've been on a roller coaster of work ethic and raw talent and hot mess and undisciplined and hard-headedness. Let's add that in there too. So consider that the forms that we've been talking about in KW, the GPS and the 411 can be helpful, and do not fill all of them out. And the rules are, until this is done, I actually flipped these. So I made this number 2 and I made coaching number 1, which scared the hell out of my coach. I almost got him fired. We're still together, but I did try another coach because what I said was, I'm running my life on where I want to go. I'm not running it on what I have to do. And so I flipped these, which means the first time gets invested on coaching and training. And the next time gets invested on my real estate clients and serving them. Good grief. There's plenty of time to focus on both of these. And with my assistant's help, we're working on these 3 as well. The hierarchy goes. So GPS for this. Call Donna. I want to teach you your market center. She goes, great, here's who you gotta call. So, you know, it's 1, 2, 3, TL, calendar, material. That's the GPS for Teach and Ross. That's as complicated as the GPS has to be. I don't want you to be freaked out about it. I would actually like you to, I would like for your life to be changed because you took a napkin over lunch and started with this structure. Because if I don't talk to the TL, this doesn't happen probably. What's one thing I can do since by doing it, everything else gets easier or unnecessary? That is the focusing question in the one thing. And I aim that at every single thing in my life. What's one thing I can do since by doing it, everything else gets easier or unnecessary? Working on the materials and thinking about what's on Roswell's calendar? No. TL first. Then I find the people that are gonna make it happen on the calendar, and then that happens, and then I make sure I'm prepared for today. So that's a little bit about the GPS. So we talked about 7 circles. Every circle probably needs a GPS, but it doesn't have to be more complicated than that. Then when you chop it down to what can I do this week to make Roswell happen? Because I don't know how long ago we had it, but it was ways. Yeah, it was probably late February, March. It was probably March. That's when it shows up on a 411, is when you get down to what do I need to do this week so that some of this happens. And it was right here, you know, it started out. So you've got a copy of the GPS. The only other thing in there is 12 months on a yellow legal pad. That's an image in there, which seems very rudimentary. My point with those, yes, this graph, this is Michael Bunch has made up. Your life has stuff that happens every year. I'm coaching a client right now. And guess what? We had 3 time blocks for her working on her house plans. And she forgot that every year she has a pool party for the Kentucky Derby. Every year, Kentucky Derby. I said, well, how about Memorial Day? How about Labor Day? How about July 4th? Those go on here and we block those out because they happen every year. Is December crazy every year? Yes. Is May and end of school. So we're not going to plan big initiatives for those months. We're also not going to be surprised by the fact that they occur every year. They're important to us. They're core to who we are. Now, the Kentucky, that's not me. Kentucky Derby is not important to me, but it was for her, and she had a bunch of people coming to her house. Thankfully, we did not, one of her time blocks was not during the Kentucky Derby. Thankfully, it was Saturday night, and her time blocks were other. This is so you can anticipate things that are a part of your life and who you are and important to you and those that are around you. And they don't surprise you. So that when you make these plans,
Morning anymore.
there's not some huge.
Yeah, what's up?
And these
About you today?
plans suffer.
No, I have not filed. I've been busy. No.
So anyway, I call these themes, monthly themes. October is planning for next year. That's a theme. November is Thanksgiving. December is just holidays and nuts and parties if you're a huge extrovert and all of that. All I'm saying is write whatever's in your life that happens every year in certain months. It could be that you go to the beach at a certain time. Write those in there so you can plan the rest of your life around it and your life will not sabotage itself. So that's what that page is. I'm done. Thank you.
You're not done yet, but
Okay,
yeah.
I'm not done yet. But that's a taste of the 2 to 3 hour version that I do.
Thank you. Yes, stay here because,
Pardon? Oh, to do the rest of it?
well, so first of all, you told us, you didn't know what your big why was. I felt like we're watching you live it.
Yes, you are. Because,
Very cool for
Yeah.
us to see, because that was amazing.
Uh,
I just have to tell you this.
yes,
So week one, I've been in this role, the TL role, 90 days. Week one, I meet FJ and Don, I'm like, hey, I'm Nate, pleasure to meet you. They're like, hey, you got this guy Michael Bunch and he's gonna. So you have some good friends who believe in you
Yeah.
and yeah, this isn't done here. Whatever you're doing here, we're gonna do more of this. So you don't know this, Roswell has a specific value baked into every decision we make, and it's authenticity. And we talk about that a lot, about using authenticity to show up as all of you to the people that you serve, right? So anyhow, I have one question for you, and I think we should open up for a few more questions. Mine is, you've been in the real estate business for how many
30.
years? 30 years. Okay, so we have people in the room that have been in the business 30 plus years. We have people who aren't even in the business yet
okay,
in this room. If Michael today could go back and tell Michael getting started in the business, what would you say?
relax. Don't be so afraid. Think about the 12-year-old you, what you loved to do. Think about whatever experiences you have. That gets into the, let's take how God wired you and how life has prepared you. Let's take all the stuff that you've been through, or all that it is. I talk now about having ministries that I never wanted. My daughter, late diagnosis, autism, and she now lives with us and she's 29. Hard. Never wanted that to be a part of my story, but that now uniquely qualifies me to relate to other parents who have adult children who may have some sort of special needs. So that means that I may find myself at meetings and a part of communities that I never anticipated being. So some of it is embracing all of how God wired you and how life has prepared you. And don't be afraid of camping out there to do your real estate business. You got to just trust that those communities that connects with are going to be enough business for you. And if you'll stay there and specialize there rather than going and trying to do all of these wonderful things, I call it getting drunk on Keller Williams stuff. You're going to stumble around disoriented, trying to consume everything, and you'll end up being nothing really, other than this, I call it a weird Terminator synthetic real estate thingy. So what happens is, Mark King comes to town. And it's like, you going? It's like, no. I know what my financial circle looks like. And right now, that's not fitting into where I'm headed. And I will not be pulled off of where I'm headed to go to an event that just feels outside of my lane right now. So it gets really easy for me to make decisions because it's either in my lane or it's not in my lane. If it's not in my lane, it'll have to come back. And if I'm supposed to be there, it will come back. So that would be, if I'm not in real estate at all, it's like, I don't know what you did before, but whatever you did before has value to what you are going to do now and how you're going to do real estate. Don't try to become entirely somebody different. Be you, be more fully you, and then just have it also include real estate. So long answer, but one of mine is authenticity, and I cannot be inauthentic, which is why people who are not a good fit for me.
That's great. Are there any other questions for Michael? I mean, this has been so helpful.
I have a question,
What-
I have a couple of statements.
Okay.
The last one you just said is, hit me, is are you running your life on where you want to go? Or are you running what you have to do? And then what this course, and I know it's a condensed version, what you showed us in this 45 minutes is how to niche ourselves down, because everybody talks about the niches, the riches are in the niches. You're showing us how, if we do stay true to ourselves, you said, sell out to who you are, so you enjoy the rooms you're in. That's what I got from it.
So you're in the right rooms. Yeah, for
And you
you.
enjoy those rooms that you're in. 'Cause you
Right.
didn't necessarily enjoy that room when you went to Gary Keller's thing. You knew that was something that to achieve.
I just felt out of place.
Yeah,
I
and
felt,
then you never know how being true to you can impact your business.
your database and the people that you meet self-filter for the good when you are more fully you in front of them. And when you're faking it,
It shows.
well, they can smell it. They can smell it when you fake it, the joke, commission breath and all of that, but people can sense things that are not genuine. Usually long before you think they have found out. And when you are genuine, it is at least going to attract the right people. They're gonna recognize it and know that it's genuine. If you support a cause, they're gonna know whether you're all in, because you're gonna be passionate. You're not gonna worry about being overly passionate because it's important to you and they're gonna feel it. So great observations. Yeah. Not what you have to, where you go going where you want to go, not where you have to do what you have to do. Great. Anybody else?
Michael, I had some big ahas from what you were saying. One was the simplicity of it, because sometimes we look at these charts, we look at these goal things and we're like, oh my gosh, I gotta break all this down.
Yes.
The simplicity of how you broke this down and that it doesn't need to be clean, it can be messy. And then also the psychology behind it of if we were doing this with a team, we're working with a team and we go through this, it gives us the psychology of why our team members are doing what they're doing, why they are passionate about certain areas and what's the best things to give them to accomplish that.
Yeah. And it's also the reason why when we do this in a corporate setting, the team builds the GPS. The lead rainmaker doesn't draft the GPS and try to impose it on the team. Because you haven't fleshed out the ownership. When everybody builds it, you are in alignment, you end up with what Gary says, the GPS is supposed to be a one-page business plan. How can you all be on the same page if there's more than one page? So he wants it to be simple and concise. And really, all you need is a goal and one thing at the top, because you don't really have any business going to number 2 and number 3 until number 1 is done. And so your GPS can start out very, very, very simple. Great observation, great observation. Cool.
I got,
Yes.
hi, I resonated a lot with when you had said, you had a difficulty really understanding their why. And I know some of the things we were talking about, I was on the call, until I just got here and I was listening to you saying that, you know, the questions, the movies, you know, and Simon Sinek has his book, obviously, The Big Why, and has a process for going through that, which can be for a lot of people pretty cumbersome. So I was looking for. Well, yeah, it's time consuming. It's like, why are, you know, 5 people gonna spend 3 hours with you?
Right.
You know, but so how, my question is about, you know, what you've laid out here in this process, how well do you think it helps a person discover their why, or is that, maybe I'm misinterpreting? If that's-
I think you get there over time. You start by having the courage to even engage the process. To take the pen and actually press it on the paper and write down truly what you were feeling and why you like that movie. Then you get to questions like the $1 billion question. If I gave you $1 billion, who do you help and what do you help them address or solve? And you just go, surely there's something I care about. But I have no clue because I'm just so shut down soldiering through real estate that there's barely enough energy to care about anything beyond my family. You just sit with it and you keep trying. A great example of that is I'm trying to write my obituary, which may sound morbid until you're in the world that I'm in, and it's like goals but here's the deal. I don't want my obituary, and I just read Martin Luther King's sermon where he did his own eulogy. He just didn't know it. He practiced And it ended up being 2 months before he was assassinated. And they played it. And he said, what I don't want you to do is talk about where I came from and the Pulitzer Prize, the Peace Prize and all of the, I want you to talk about how I was in the trenches and trying to make a difference. And so I was talking with a friend. I've got a friend now who's in the last part of her life. And we don't know when that's going to be, but she's facing it a lot more urgently than I feel like I'm facing it unless it happens this afternoon. And it's, what do you want to say and what do you care about? And you'll begin to get a fuzzy picture of that why. And because we were talking about real estate coaches earlier, and it's like, I don't want to be a real estate coach, but I'm done with strategies and techniques and skills and script, whatever. Because there's a lot of people having that conversation. The conversation I want to have is significance and why you do what you do so that you can love what you do, because for a long time, I did not love what I did. And I felt like I burnt out and just ended up empty and disoriented. So your why will come if you'll just journal your way through what's important to you. And pay attention that if you're on social media and something pisses you off, it's violating one of your core values and you care about it. And there's something about that, like when a friend of mine posts something that's incendiary, intent to cause a reaction. And I could fact check it through ChatGPT in like less than 60 seconds, and it is utter rubbish. I am mad. I'm mad because they are putting it out there and it just is not true. So then I go back to page 3 and I go, well, honesty and maybe diligence are a couple of my values, and leadership, being held to a higher standard, that if I put something out there and it's just blatantly false, I could be getting others riled up. So it's just things like that. My only point is pay attention to what makes you mad. Because when people are in the left lane, I want to go, there's a law against this. You should be in the right lane because, you know, you shouldn't be driving slow. There's some self-righteous judgment, which everything about me is not pretty. The deeper you look, the worse it gets. But part of my why, I discovered along the way of finding out what made me cry, what made me mad, what made me laugh, and what my heart actually connected with. And now from a guy, sorry, we were way over. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We'll land the plane here in a minute.
I am 63, grew up in the Mississippi Delta. Ground zero for staggering, racially oriented trauma, pain, and hurt. It's in the water that I grew up in. For a long time, somehow I was okay just to do my thing and let the people who were directly affected by that fight their own battles. Now I'm heartbroken by that. And part of my big why is leaning back against that. Now that my heart has turned the corner, but I had to just realize what is important to me and what causes tears to well into my eyes. And racism is one of those things that I think should not be, and definitely should not be, in the church. So now I want to mission and having different conversations that I'm not used to. But that's when I say it can come out of who you are and where you've been, it will. But it's not going to find you. You're going to have to sneak up on yourself, maybe with some of these questions, and start to get an aroma of what it might be, and then just stick with it. It's inside of you. It's not going to go away, but you're also not going to trip over it accidentally. Great question. Thank you. Woo! Almost needed the tissues.
We're 5 minutes over. I think we can all agree this will be a continued conversation with Michael. With that said, we're gonna skip closing thoughts. Billy, I heard you say you just wrote a check to Camp Sunshine for how much money?
$532,000.
That's amazing. What else do you need to know about Billy?
Another one's the Lake and Valley Foundation.
Very cool. Let's conclude, guys. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Thank you for all you do. Michael, thank you again. his contact info is on there, and I'll bet he's looking for a coaching client. So thank you again for being here. You guys have a great rest of the week. Well, yeah, lunch is here.